Greetings, thank you for joining me today. Today's video is from the bathroom, under construction still because these things take time and they take a lot of money. Anyway, I'm getting away from the noise of the neighbours and the house to make this recording because quality counts, and I want to try and block out all extraneous sound. Not so easy as you think. I end up recording in the middle of the night sometimes purely to block out the sound of the traffic. Now, when I was a kid, child of the 70s, I grew up learning very early on the value of quality because a lot of the headphones I experienced when I was first getting into music weren't that brilliant. I was spending pocket money, so 50p, a pound, no more than £10 on a set of headphones or earbuds, and the quality I was running through was frankly terrible sometimes. There was no excuse for it because by that point we'd had headphones for, nigh on 50 years, at least. From the first wireless operators headphones, which still work if you ever grab a hold of some of those old-fashioned headphones, you see them in museums, they still work. And they work because they were designed well and they were built with good materials. Roll on to the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and manufacturers were scrimping and scraping wherever they could in order to get as much out of it as possible. So quality was not foremost, and most of your headphones would fail within a couple of weeks to a couple of months. If you got a year out of a set of headphones, well, you were doing well. At that point, Sony headphones were out of my price range, as was Sony equipment. The first equipment I had was the manufacturers like Alba, and remember Alba? Are they still going? Or various others, I won't name names, and own brands from shops. And it taught me a lot because I got sick of replacing things because, it takes a lot of time to save up the pocket money. So I decided to start fixing my headphones when they broke. Best way to do it. Got myself a soldering iron and learned to solder and learned to fix breaks in the wires, all that good stuff. Because it's a valuable skill to have. It will save you a lot of money. It certainly saved me a lot. Now roll forward a few decades, and now I don't buy headphones so often because I tend to choose more wisely. Spend a little more, get a better quality headphone. Now you might be asking yourself, well, what's a good example of a manufacturer of headphones? Who should I buy from? Well, in my experience, you've got to lay hands on the headphones in question, if you can, in a shop, and you've got to feel them and look at the quality of them before you make a buying choice. It is always setting you up for failure if you're picking up headphones off the shelf, but they're in a box and you can't actually see them. You can't lay your hands on the plastic themselves, because that's when you learn how well made these things are. Now, I'll give you a good example of a headset manufacturer that really does well. Sennheiser, these are my daily drivers. Sennheiser over-the-head headphones with a good range, a response range. It's not the most recent ones on the market, it's not their latest offering. They don't have any noise cancellation. It doesn't need it because it's got just enough based on the foam and the good construction. It blocks out most of the extraneous noise, and if you're sitting on a tram or a train and someone's having a conversation out loud on the phone next to you, you won't hear it because you've got good noises in your ears. Yeah, I like a cable because I like a cable. There are Bluetooth versions available for those that like that particular type of access, and of course if you've got an iPhone, I don't think you can use a cable, can you? Anyway, so that's a cracking good example. I had these as a present. But if you're looking for headphones and you've got the money, well worth a consideration. Likewise, Bose, they make excellent headphones. I don't have any to hand, sadly. I don't have Bose money. Let's look at something slightly more affordable, shall we? It is easy to get tied up and think about price only when you look for headphones, or cute stuff when you look at headphones. In my experience, if your headphones have cat ears on them, they may not be of the best quality. If your headphones have funky patterns, they may not be of the best quality. What I would go for is something simple, well designed, elegant, that won't make you feel like an idiot if you're walking out in public with it. Now, how you define that is, of course, your own business. But what I mean is, you should be thinking about the sound output from those earphones and how much they protect you against extraneous sounds you don't want to hear. Now, when it comes to being aware of your surroundings, I would always encourage you to only listen to things when you are sat down and safe. Don't be walking in traffic whilst listening to music, because you can be distracted and you can get run over. It is not safe. It is not safe to cycle or drive a train or do anything or fly a helicopter whilst wearing headphones for enjoying music. You know, wear the right kit at the right time. That said, Sony make good headphones. Well, they did. Here's a good example of headphones they made. Now, my friend, one of my friends from work, he came into work wearing these headphones, his headphones, and I said to him, how are they be performing? He says, they're rather too bassy for me. And knowing him, I thought, those are the headphones for me then. So I went and bought myself a pair the very same day. And it's the Sony MDR XB550, sturdy. I believe they came in a range of colours, but I bought black because it goes with pretty much everything, doesn't it? Now, these I've had for a good, going on 8 years now. And the only way that you can tell they're old is the foam on the inner part here, and the foam, of course, on the ear pads themselves has started to fail. It's failed completely. And that's it. Sound reproduction wise, they still sound as great as they did when I bought them, and they are quite bassy. They deliver at the low end of frequencies and equally well at the high end, but I like my bass. And they are sturdy enough to have travelled with me pretty much every day to work in my bag without getting destroyed, which is something. Yeah, like them. Adjustable. I think a bit of plastic has chipped off somewhere. Oh, there it is, yes. You can tell just on that bit. But aside from that, there's no sign of the ears. And they're comfortable. Do they blot out sound from around you? Well, they do to a certain extent, but these weren't designed in the days where noise cancellation was a thing. Now, more recently, I bought my son, my youngest, a headphones for Christmas, and I thought, well, it's a no-brainer, isn't it? Go for another set of Sony headphones. Now, I paid pretty much the same amount for the set I bought for him as I did for those headphones, but what I didn't get was quality. Let me show the Sonys that I purchased for my son. He does enjoy using them. They do sound okay, but only okay. They don't deliver the bass that the other headphones deliver, which is disappointing because I paid as much for these as I did for the other ones. Yeah. So things you notice when you pick them up, you notice they don't have a lot of weight at all. I mean, it's very light plastic. It's as thin as can be, and there are clear points where it will fail. Now, this one has already failed. Well, they captured the cable, and it was a clear chew all the way through. So I had to go and find another cable. Now, mercifully, because we've had many mobile phones over the years, they tend to come, well, they did used to come with a set of headphones, poor headphones. So I cut off the earbuds on one of those and repurposed the cable. Now, to do this is actually a better cable than the one that was fitted. It was fitted with the flat cable that you saw on the other headphones, but the wire in this was thinner gauge, much thinner gauge, to the point where when I got down to it, when I got through the rubber, I discovered there was only 2 or 3 strands in that wire total. A marked contrast to the other one, which has more heft to it. The cable, has more heft. So it was a small thing for the cat to bite clean through the cable on this. Now, they haven't got it yet because I make the lad put these headphones away in a drawer when he's not using them. And you've got to keep an eye out for the cats because they do love their silicone. And of course, silicone rubber, they coat the wires. This is a failure point potentially. Anyway, so replacing these was a bit of a pain. because of course you are soldering on cheap nasty thin wires, and they don't take solder easily. They are coated in lacquer and then coated in rubber, and the lacquer prevents the solder adhering to the wires. A right pain. Marked difference to higher quality headphones which have more wire to play with. You've got a fighting chance. So yeah, they don't design them with the cables to be replaced, which is frankly not a deal breaker, but it would be nice. And I had to dismantle these carefully. Now they can be dismantled, so you take away the pad, undo 2 screws, and you can take it apart gently and gently solder on 2 new wires if you've got a steady hand. And if you've seen my videos with my less than steady hand, you'll know how tricky that was for me. Okay, I can deal with that. I can deal with putting on another cable. Fine, I'll let that pass, because that fault was the cat. But what I don't like is the flimsiness that you feel when you pick up the band. Okay, now in this part it is strong enough. That's great. I like that feel. It's comfortable when you put it on your head, but there's no padding. They've cheaped out on the padding. There's just no padding at all. They've got some adjustability, which is fine. That will work probably, and there's no wire going through it, so it's not going to be a failure point. The ones where the wire comes in on one side can be a failure point if you've got the wire going through the headset. But the main failure point for this, as I see it, will be where the headphone links with the band, because it's got this, I wonder if I can capture it. There it is. It's got this awful open clasp thing. So it's like an open ball joint, and there's not much to that plastic, so it won't take much for a rogue twist. If it's put in a school bag and it's jogged about too much, it'll come out of that clip and that clip will break. You won't be able to get it back together at all. So that appalled me. I would have spotted that. If I picked that up off the shelf in the shop, I would have found that broken. I guarantee I would have found that broken before I'd even touched it, because that is a failure point, and it's a testament to my lad's gentleness that these things are still around. I bought headphones for my older kids, Sony's again, but they were far closer to the other quality, real headphones that lasted all the way through until they went and purchased something new. But they didn't stop working. These I envisage these coming away from the headband very soon. So yeah, we're looking for something else already. Right, I'd better go and return these. Next, let's have a look at something more affordable. Now, if you're not in the market for Sonys, you don't have that much money, you want to spend under £10, then these are a cracking good option. These are transparent, but they come in other colours, various colours. It's transparent, blue, black, that sort of thing. And if you look on Temu at any point, you'll find a version of this that suits your pocket. These have cables that you can plug in. Let me see if I can get it to focus at all. Probably not. But yeah, you can unplug the cable if you want, which means if you have a catcher in a cable situation, you don't have to try soldering anything on anything. You can just replace the cable, which is nice. Although at £7 a pop, I might just replace the whole thing if I run into that issue. The cable is thick. There's a lot of strands to it, and whilst it is the lacquer covered, it's probably aluminium, whilst it is that lacquer covered wire covered in rubber, it's still better than the offering from Sony. Sorry, it just is. It has a single driver, you can see, can't you? A single driver in there. It's just the one speaker. It's not expensive, so you don't expect more than that, but it delivers a good range of sound. This one, reportedly, it's got a frequency 10 to 20,000 hertz with an impedance of 16 ohm, and sensitivity 110 plus or minus 3 decibels per milliwatt. And now when you're listening to that, that means that if you're listening to Any music, literally any music, you're going to pick up the low ends and the high ends and everything in between. It's cracking good. I can't think of a better value for money than this sort of thing, really. This one, like I say, is the EDX Pro from Commute, but you'll find it all over the place, or a version of it. Highly recommended. Even if it's just your spare earphones for when your battery goes on your Bluetooth number. So yeah, I like those. We'll see how long they last. I've had these before, like I say, but usually I lose them before I break them. So that's something to be said, isn't it? On to another one. How about the Xiaomi Redmi earbuds? Now, they do a range of them for different budgets. This is mid-range. I think if you were to buy them, if they still sell them, they're about £25 for the set. They come in a nice box, which I've lost, and in full instructions and a cable, but no charger. It's USB-C charging, and yeah, really bassy headphones with noise cancellation. And this is a bonus, especially if you're stuck on a tram with someone who's being loud, because whilst the over-the-head headphones will do a lot to cancel noise naturally, these do it actively. And you can choose the level of noise cancellation. Yeah, we ended up with two sets of these as part of a mobile phone package, and we're very pleased. I mean, they lasted about 2 years before they finally failed. The batteries, I think, fail eventually. But really good noise response, good range. You can walk about 10-15 foot away from your source before it loses reception. You can use just one earbud if you want to keep one ear open for whatever. That's kind of helpful. Great if you're listening to podcasts and you're not worried about the stereo nature of it. And it'll tell you how much battery's in the pod here, and how much battery is available in each of the earbuds when you connect with your phone. Really, really nice, and I couldn't fault it really. Liked it a lot. Sadly missed. Okay, on to the next one. On to my last offering, which is from Hyundai. Now, when you say Hyundai, you don't normally think headphones, do you? You think, well, cars, generally? Bikes, maybe? I don't know. But not headphones, and for good reason. Because whilst Hyundai cars are just fine, I'm sure, I've never owned one, their headphones leave something to be desired. Now, here they are. Just shy of £18 on Temu. Not the best money I've ever spent, because these broke within 2 weeks. As you can see, they've got a flimsy plastic loop here, and that's supposed to go over your ear and put the sound thumper, I wouldn't call it a speaker, the actuator close to your skull so it can pound the sound through your skull. But the loop's broken, so the only thing holding this together now is the wire connecting the circuit board with the actuator. Not ideal. I'm going to have to find some way of fixing that without making it uncomfortable to wear. I might take it apart completely and try and incorporate this into another headset, because one of the features you have with other bone conduction headphones is they grip your head tightly, and the whole reason for doing that is to make sure that, let me put those down, is to make sure that they're pressing the actuators into your skull so they transmit the sound cleanly. Those sound muffled. And you lose bass completely, it's tinny. So what you're actually listening to when you're listening to them is you're listening to the sound conducting through the air rather than conducting through your skull. And you hear the things rattle quite a bit. Now, it's clear enough if you're listening to someone talking, if you're listening to a blog maybe, or you're taking a telephone call, but how many of us really need to have headphones that we can take a telephone call on? Because if you're out and about, they do serve the purpose of not blocking your ear channels. So if you're out and about walking, you can take a telephone call without worrying that you might not hear traffic coming towards you or someone calling your name or anything like that. But you struggle to hear, and the microphone doesn't work that well outdoors anyway, as with so many Bluetooth devices, the sound's kind of lost to the person you're calling. So not recommended. What I like about the corded headphones is you have a microphone like that. You can cup it in your hand, so if you're on a windy day and you're chatting to somebody, you can protect the microphone from the sound of the wind around you. Can't do that with a Bluetooth headset because it's a wee, where is it now? It's just an hole, a tiny little pin dot hole inside of the chassis, and it doesn't work. Yeah. Now the range, to talk about what goes well for that Hyundai headset, the range on those is actually very good. From the source to the headset, you can go further, about 15 to 18 foot away from your phone before you drop the signal, which is really, really quite nice. But that's about all I'd say for it, really. The battery lasts well. I haven't run the battery down yet, but yeah, it doesn't deliver what a headset should, which is good sound reproduction. Yeah, so that's my rant over. I think it's a rant today, wasn't it? If you've stuck with me this long, let me know what you think. What's your favourite headset? What's your favourite earbuds? Anyway, whatever you do, have a great day. Bye for now.